cost of living crisis is hitting everyone in the pockets, of course, not least Britain's elderly. Yesterday, Age UK told on the money that 1 in 6 pensioners live in poverty in this country. But a new report suggests that 2/3 of adults hoping to retire will actually have to carry on working. The research commissioned by investment company ABRDN also found 1 in 4 adults have no idea of how to lessen the impact of inflation on their retirement income. And for some, this could anyway be out of their hands, as 1 in 5, their main source of income is the basic state pension, which rose just 3.1% at the beginning of this month. For the next year, it will stay there, lagging well behind the government's 7.4% inflation forecast for 2022. So, of course, the real value of that pension is undermined by inflation. Joining me now to discuss this is Colin Dyer. He's a retirement expert from Aberdeen. Colin, good to have you on the show here on The Money. What did you think, first off, about that 3.1% increase in the basic state pension?
It's obviously a concern, Liam, thank you for having me on. It's obviously a concern to many pensioners who are trying to make sure that they are able to kind of meet the often discussed rising cost of living. I heard your previous interview with Vicky, and she was speaking about some of the dynamics behind that. As you've said, you've almost got that kind of 4% gap between what inflation is anticipated to be this year and what we've seen coming through for the basic state pension. And so many of your viewers, I'm sure all across the UK, will be experiencing the reality of that week to week and month to month. It can be pretty shocking to open the gas and electricity bills or to stand in disbelief in a petrol station forecourt and watch how much money has been poured into the tanks.
And what really struck me about your report there, Colin, was the number of people who reach retirement age but are going to have to carry on working. How serious a problem is that? My sense was always that for the current generation of pensioners, while of course there is some pensioner poverty, as Age UK highlighted on this show yesterday, pension provision is generally not too bad. It's people currently in their 30s, 40s and 50s for whom pensioner provision is much, much less. Am I wrong?
Well, not at all. It's certainly interesting to us, Liam. This is the 3rd year that we've done this research. We've looked at 2,000 people all across the UK who are retiring. And in this research from Aberdeen, we see this big dynamic, this big trend this year that, as you've said, 66% of people are now no longer stepping fully and finally into retirement. As we look back 2 or 3 decades, 20, 30 years ago, we think that retirement was much more of a kind of binary event where someone would maybe work 5 days a week flat out until they were 60 or 65 and then completely stop and completely start to draw on their pension income. That is clearly changing. We've got a comfortable majority, this 66% who are no longer doing that. Now, to your point, sometimes it's driven by necessity. Sometimes they are concerned about have they got enough income, particularly with these very high levels of inflation. But it's not always bad news. We think for a lot of these people across the UK, it can be as often for positive reasons. Some people quite enjoy the work. They just want to cut back to part-time hours. Others want to start a whole new job or maybe even a brand new business venture.
I must say, Colin, I'm less concerned about the current generation of pensioners, setting aside, the very real poverty that some of them are feeling, which, of course, needs to be addressed. But for the current generation of pensioners, if retirement is less of a cliff edge and more of a kind of gradual off-ramp where you wind down going to 3 days a week, that's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? That's got to be good for your life, your mental health, your self-esteem, so you're not just sitting in front of the telly all day.
Absolutely agree, Liam. I think actually some people in the past where it was much more of that kind of binary event, it can almost be quite a shocking thing psychologically. Because when we're working, we're out in a social environment. It's nice to be wanted, to be needed, and all of the kind of structure that goes around employment or work. To completely stop that, and as you say, just be sitting at home, in the past, I think has been a challenge to a number of people. So it's just great that people see the opportunity for a much more flexible start to the retirement, and they will experience many different chapters through the retirement.
Well, Colin Dyer from investment company Aberdeen. It is an interesting piece of research. I'm sorry I've got more time to talk about it today, but we will get you back on the show. These retirement issues, hugely important to On the Money, to GB News and to many of our viewers. Let's just...